In the 1950s, America had broken free from the shackles of wartime economics. It was walking with the swagger of a nation that had the world by the tail. Scientists had harnessed nuclear energy. Jet-propelled airplanes were breaking speed records, and the race to space was on. But perhaps more than anything else, one thing melded imagination and consumerism, putting this era in perfect context. The concept car. Unlike satellites, rockets, and jet planes, these dream cars were accessible. People flocked to auto shows to see concept cars in their titanium-bodied glory. They were snapshots of how America perceived its future. They were simply out of sight, unforgettable. But what happened to them? Most were destroyed. Some just plain vanished. But amazingly, some are still here.
This one is a 4-seat car, can transport a family. It has a gas turbine engine, was just simply amazing to the public.
This car was designed to show off for Ghia. When you look at this car from a distance, it's low, it's got this wonderful sculptural quality. It's absolutely a beautiful car. It just looks right from every angle.
Reintroducing the 1956 GM Firebird II and the 1953 Cadillac Series 62 Coupe by Ghia. (1956). United States Congress approves the National Interstate and Defense Highway Act. Construction of the U.S. interstate highway system gets the green light. 66,000 kilometers of highways are planned, and $25 billion is authorized for a venture that would forever change the country and influence the emergence of suburbia. In just 1 year, the pilot episode of Leave It to Beaver would air on American television. The spotlight of American capitalism is turning sharply towards the suburban family. For the automotive industry, beautiful new highways and the idealization of the suburban commuter lifestyle represented a massive opportunity. The race was on to impress this new car culture demographic, and General Motors was ready. This is the 1956 GM Firebird II.
Jet aircraft are just starting to come out. I mean, and to have an automobile that was very similar to the aircraft that everybody was admiring was just simply amazing to the public. The styling is very aircraft inspired with the fins and the very swoopy lines, but it's also about technology. The gas turbine engine was, General Motors was the first to incorporate a gas turbine engine in America. So it's about technology as much as design.
Just a few years earlier, GM had released the Firebird I, an incredible turbine-powered single-seat jet plane on wheels. The Firebird II was the follow-up. It had some similarities, but turbine power for the whole family? That was different.
To make it practical for production, it has to be multiple seats. So this one is a 4-seat car, can transport a family. These cars test the boundaries of new ideas. It has a gas turbine engine, As you can see, it's pretty much a bubble top car, has almost 360 degrees of uninterrupted vision. Firebird 1 has a tendency to have such hot exhaust coming out that you'd have to be careful walking out behind it. Firebird 2, the exhaust comes out through the upper rear deck, which alleviates that potential for a burn. While safer than in the back, still 1,650 degrees of hot air comes out of this exhaust port.
GM paid close attention to making the second coming of the Firebird more appealing to the suburban nuclear family. This wasn't exactly a jet plane on wheels, but there would be no problem keeping up with the Joneses in this turbine sequel.
The gas turbine engine is, if you look at it as a windmill, wind blows a windmill, makes it spin. Well, on a gas turbine, hot gases blow against the turbine, which is the windmill, and make it spin. That power is then transmitted by a shaft to the transmission, which makes the car go. They also spin at very high RPMs. This engine idles at about 15,000 RPM, and operating RPM is around 35,000, making somewhere in and around 225 horsepower.
In order to hit the mark with this car, GM had to find the perfect balance between family-friendly and space-age cool. This is a family car, but there's nothing conservative about its design.
As you look at the styling features of the Firebird 2, one of the most notable things on the front end is the unique gas turbine air intakes. This car also features a titanium skin, which gives it that brush look. Even the interior pieces on the car are also very much aircraft inspired. The steering wheel looks like a aircraft steering yoke. Has the push buttons on it as if you would have guns in the front that you could fire. Moving further back, you can see the fuel pods on the side. These are reminiscent of fuel pods that you would see on jet aircraft of the day. It's a 3-fin design with a dorsal fin in the middle, which further solidifies the nature of the jet aircraft design of the car. At the very tail of the car, you can see a tail light, which reflects off of a shiny surface, which gives the illusion of jet aircraft exhaust.
The 1956 GM Firebird 2 captured the imagination of a nation. But this concept car had one more trick up its sleeve. It held a secret. A new technology that would truly set it apart. To the naked eye, the family-friendly 1956 GM Firebird 2 had a lot going for it. But beyond its ultra-modern titanium shell, this concept car contained something truly visionary. When it was time to load up the family for a good old-fashioned Sunday drive, you didn't take this concept car cruising, it took you cruising.
General Motors touted it as a car that had self-driving capabilities. It'd follow a wire in the road, so they used to do a commercial in the early days called Highway of Tomorrow, and it would be similar to an aircraft controller where you would ask permission to get on the expressway. Once you were on the expressway, then the aircraft controller took over the vehicle, and you could sit back and then relax and enjoy yourself without driving the vehicle.
In the 1950s, catering to the budding suburban demographic was all about convenience. The Firebird 2 was the perfect fit. After all, what's more convenient than a car that drives itself? But in the world of concept cars, ideas and real-world execution are two very different things. Obviously, the highway of tomorrow was a distant dream, and therefore self-driving cars were too. As for turbine technology, as sexy and exciting as it was, it was still a work in progress.
I think the auto industry just wasn't ready for that complexity of a gas turbine engine. There are some downfalls to a gas turbine engine. They like warmer weather. They're not real fond of cold weather. They're hard to start. I think some of the noise and heat was objectionable during that period of time, but what it did do was show the possibilities of this new gas turbine engine.
GM wasn't going to be able to sell these turbine-powered dream machines to suburbanites across the country. But this concept car achieved a lot for General Motors.
To be able to even conceive and produce a gas turbine car was really a scientific achievement. And it helped cement the research power that General Motors had during that period of time.
After concept cars exhausted the auto show circuit, many of them were sold off or destroyed. But even then, GM knew of the significance of the Firebird 2 and spared this futuristic family mover from peril.
These were hallmark cars. These are crown jewel cars of our collection, and I think that they were so special and involved so many people that they were recognized as special cars right from the very beginning. So General Motors has hung on to a number of these very special cars, and we're lucky we have them today to view. As a person that loves mechanical things in automobiles, it's really a car that you grow to appreciate the complexity and the overall quality of the build of this car. This is a time before CAD CAM drawings and computerized design. These things were all hand done by craftsmen. So it's very much like looking at any kind of old piece of art. And that's what they are today. It's a form of art.
(1953). The first ever color television network broadcast hits the airwaves. In the USA, color television sets start finding their way into living rooms of the nation. Americans are exposed to images from around the world in a whole new way. In the world of fashion, domestic styling trends are influenced more and more by exotic European trends. Italian fashion accessories are all the rage, not to mention the Italian haircut. Just because you were American on the inside, it doesn't mean you couldn't look Italian on the outside. And in the automotive world, things weren't all that different. This is the 1953 Cadillac Series 62 Coupe by Ghia.
When I look at this car, the first word that comes to mind is gorgeous. It's absolutely a beautiful car. It just looks right from every angle. The body on this car was designed by Ghia in Italy. Ghia was one of a number of coach builders who made just bodies for cars. After World War II, there came to be a certain kind of Italian style that was widely admired and widely adopted. If you wanted something really special that you couldn't get from any manufacturer, you could go out and literally order yourself a one-of-a-kind body if you wanted.
In 1953, the automotive manufacturing landscape was changing. There was no shortage of coach building talent in Italy. But with mass production on the rise, the need for handmade bodywork was becoming marginalized. Coach builders like Ghia needed to market their talents.
This car was designed to show off for Ghia. Back in the day, coach builders didn't really have a lot to do anymore because car manufacturers were building cars that were complete. But there was a lot of talent left over from even the days of the horse-drawn carriage. And there are a lot of people that knew how to build bodies, they knew how to shape metal. Here you have something that is hammered out by individuals. It may be crisp and it may have nice sharp lines, but it still has an organic feel. It still feels real and looks real. So you want to interact with it. You want to get in it. You want to have an experience with this car. You want to get in this sculpture and drive it around.
This Italian sculpture housed a well-appointed 53 Cadillac chassis, a work of art in itself. But this car was a lot more about the outside than it was about the inside.
This car was all about design, although the fact that it was built on a Cadillac chassis indicates that they were thinking a little bit about technology and a little bit about performance and a whole lot about luxury. It's a very fleet design. It's very linear. Unlike a lot of Cadillacs that were being built up to that time, Cadillac had not yet come out with quad headlights. That wouldn't happen until 1957 on the Eldorado Brougham. But here you have it in 1953 on a car built by Ghia. It's like nothing else on the road. Here you've got a Cadillac without fins. It had these wonderful lines across the side, these chrome strips. It had a marvelous egg crate grille.
In the 1950s, designers at Chrysler hired Ghia to help create several Italian-inspired concept cars. These were successful, well-documented, and high-profile show cars. But the origins of the 1953 Ghia Cadillac aren't so clear. It was indeed a showpiece for Ghia, but in reality, nobody really knows who ordered the creation of this car.
We don't know that Cadillac had this car built for them. We don't know who the car was designed for. Back in the day, coach builders would take chassis and build special bodies for them and show them at auto shows, hoping to get business from wealthy individuals, from manufacturers, from companies that wanted to buy a car and give it as a gift, perhaps, or for a country that wanted to have a car specially made and give it as a gift.
The exact circumstances of its creation may be murky, but the beauty and quality of this car is crystal clear. This was an exquisite combination of Italian and American automotive craftsmanship. Could this possibly have swayed GM enough to consider a mass-produced version?
The design of this body did not lend itself to series production. The creases were too fine. The sculpting was too intricate. There was just no way that you could get a body press to stamp out these panels efficiently and expect the manufacturer to make money.
In the world of concept cars, regardless of who makes them and why, many of them are discarded not long after their creation. This car was just too beautiful for the crusher. It was all La Dolce Vita on the outside and apple pie on the inside. This absolutely unique and luxurious charm is what helped it survive.
A lot of the vehicles that Italian coach builders built upon chassis were really viable vehicles. They were built to run. They were built to sell to an end user, to a customer who was going to drive them. Unlike a lot of Detroit cars that were built just to look really cool up on a turntable for one show season. But this car, it's a Cadillac underneath. It's a Cadillac in a really pretty party dress.
Not only was the luxurious 1953 Ghia Cadillac preserved, but it had the rare privilege of a fairy tale ending. In a beautifully fitting coincidence, this beautiful custom-designed car was purchased by a prince and presented to one of the most beautiful women in the world. This 1953 custom-built Cadillac was a beautiful showpiece for Italian coach builder Ghia. But this luxurious car's story didn't end with the completion of the auto show circuit. Instead of the junkyard, this concept car ended up in a fairy tale.
When this car was new, it was owned by Rita Hayworth, and it was given to her as a gift by Ali Khan, son of the Aga Khan, who was then the world's wealthiest man. We don't know when Prince Ali Khan first became aware of this car, and we don't know when he bought it. But we do know that he bought it for Rita Hayworth, the very famous actress. I think some people consider her the most beautiful woman of her time, which is only right that she would marry the son of the wealthiest man in the world. So it was an appropriate pairing. We don't know if he saw it at an auto show and said, oh, I've got to have it, and then went to see the Ghia representative or the Cadillac representative. But cars like this, when they were built, people didn't sneak them home at night and hide them in garages. They paraded them. They got them out on the show circuit, so an awful lot of people could see them and admire them. But you have to admit, it's an appropriate car. This car probably would have set them back $15,000, $18,000, maybe even $20,000, which in 1953 was a couple of houses.
Unique, custom-built concept cars owned by the world's elite often live the same pampered lives as their owners. But the 1953 Cadillac by Ghia wasn't so lucky. This fairy tale ending wasn't meant to last.
Rita Hayworth owned this car, we believe, for only about 5 or 6 years. It then ended up on the second-hand market and was actually seen in Los Angeles later in the 50s, painted white. We don't know what happened to it during that 20 or 30-year stretch. A lot of times cars go into collections or end up in junkyards in the back row, kind of forgotten about.
The lifelong journey of the 1953 Cadillac by Ghia is as compelling and memorable as its own design. Luckily, this stunning piece of automotive history is now under the care of the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles, California. Restored to its original glory, it speaks of a different era, the lost art of coach building. Princes and starlets, unimaginable wealth and luxury.
When you were the customer back then, you could have ordered anything. If you didn't want your Cadillac emblem here, yes sir, where would you like your Cadillac emblem? We'll put it wherever you want it. And it was the day of the bespoke car. It was almost like working with an architect to build a house. You sat down with a coach builder to design your car. You could have anything you want. This is probably one of my favorite Italian-bodied cars. It's so gorgeous. When you look at this car from a distance, it's low, it's got this wonderful sculptural quality, and when you find out who owned it originally, it has all this glamour associated with it. How can you not like it?